Old Norse skies, cosmic giants and star myths. It is midnight, in the middle of June, somewhere in the cold grey water between Norway and Iceland. A long wooden ship is out here, far past the last sight of land. One square sail, 60 men, no cabin, no deck to hide under. And it is not dark. The sun went down hours ago, but the sky is still a pale, washed out blue all the way around the horizon. There are no stars tonight. There will be none tomorrow night either. In the far north, in high summer, there are no stars for weeks. And the sky, the one thing every sailor before you has used to find a way, has switched itself off. So how do you get home? Before we answer that, remember where this journey has taken us. Our earliest ancestors looked up and noticed that the sky repeats itself. Mesopotamia began writing the sky down on red clay, and Babylon used those records to work out what it would do next. Egypt built a whole kingdom around the heavens. India turned the sky into mathematics and then handed the star map to ordinary people where it is still in daily use. China kept watch on the heavens for thousands of years without ever letting the watch stop. The Maya, alone on the far side of the world, counted the sky into calendars that outlived their cities. Greece built the sky as a machine of turning spheres and then went outside and measured it. Persia gathered all of it into one royal book of tables. Sailors in the Pacific crossed the largest ocean on earth with their sky held inside their heads. Builders in Europe set their calendar into standing stones. Africa kept its star knowledge alive in the human voice. And last time, islands that borrowed a whole astronomy from a neighbor and then kept it running for 1,000 years. Every one of those peoples had a sky they could rely on. Tonight we meet a people who did not. Their sky vanished for half the year. And in their stories it was a living thing that could be hunted and one day killed. This is the story of the sailors of the disappearing sky. Start with the stories. The Norse did not think the world hung in empty space. They thought it hung in a tree. One enormous tree, so big that nobody has ever seen the whole of it. Its name is Yggdrasil, the world tree. 9 worlds sit in its branches and around its roots. Ours is one of them, somewhere in the middle. A giant snake gnaws at the roots. An eagle sits at the top. A squirrel runs up and down the trunk all day, carrying insults between them. Now look up into the branches. The sun here is not a god on a throne. She is a young woman driving a chariot, and her brother drives the moon. A sister and a brother, one bright, one pale, going round and round above the world. And they are running, because behind each of them, always at full stretch, jaws open, is a wolf. That is why the sun goes across the sky so fast. She is being chased every single day. But sometimes, in the middle of an ordinary afternoon, a bite is taken out of the sun. We call that an eclipse. A Norse farmer called it the wolf getting close. And when it happened, people did not stand there admiring it. They made noise, banging pots, shouting at the sky to frighten the animal off. And here is the thing, it worked. Every time, the sun always came back. There is more sky in those stories. The band of color after rain is a bridge running from the ground up to the home of the gods. The stars themselves are sparks. In the beginning there was a realm of fire in the south, and burning pieces flew out of it. The gods caught the sparks, fixed them in place overhead, and gave each one its route to travel. Someone assigned the stars their jobs. And then there are the giants. The giants are older than the gods. They are the weather, the frost, the mountains, the sea. Everything huge and unfriendly. And when a god kills a giant, the leftovers get used. One story says a giant's eyes were thrown up into the sky, where they became 2 stars, side by side. In another, a hero carries a frozen companion home. One toe is sticking out, frozen solid. He snaps it off, flings it into the sky, and it becomes a star. Think about what kind of sky that is. Not a temple, not a calendar, a trophy wall. Every bright point up there is a piece of something enormous that lost a fight. And one more, the strangest of all. Sometimes, on a cold, clear night in the north, the sky begins to move. Green curtains, ribbons of light, folding and shivering from one side of the world to the other. We know what it is now. Particles from the sun, hitting the top of our air. What the Norse called it, honestly, we are not sure. Their surviving writing on it is thin. Later tellings say it is the shine of the armor of riding women who carry the dead away from the battlefield. That is beautiful. And it may well be a much later idea, because this whole sky comes to us in scraps. The old poems name only a handful of stars. Nobody in Norway was writing a star catalogue. So when someone hands you a full set of Norse constellations, be careful. Most of that is guesswork. But the biggest idea in the Norse sky is not a star at all. It is an ending. Every other sky in our series is permanent. Egypt built its whole kingdom on a sky of eternal order that never breaks. Persia saw a sky at war, with the light finally winning. Even there, the ending is a victory. The Norse sky does not get a victory. The Norse sky dies. They called it Ragnarok, the doom of the gods. First comes a winter that does not end, 3 of them in a row with no summer in between. Then the wolves finally close their jaws. The sun is caught and swallowed. The moon is caught and swallowed. And the stars fall out of the sky into the sea. The world tree shakes. The gods go out to fight, knowing already that they are going to lose. And they go anyway. These people looked up at the sun, the moon, and the stars and thought, one day, all of that will be gone. That is not a comfortable belief. It is a sky with an expiry date. And it may be the most honest sky in this whole series, because they were right. Our sun will end. It just will not need a wolf. Now come back down out of the branches onto a wet wooden deck, because we still have not got that ship home. The far north has the opposite problem from everywhere else we have visited. In winter, the stars are magnificent. Long black nights, hard bright points, easy to steer by. But nobody says in winter, the winter sea up there will kill you. The sailing season is summer, and in summer, the sky never gets properly dark. So the stars are brilliant exactly when you are stuck at home, and gone exactly when you go to sea. The sailors of the Pacific solved their ocean with a sky held in memory. The Norse could not copy it. Their sky would not stay still long enough. So they built their answer around the one thing that never left, the sun. In the dark half of the year, they did use one star. High in the north, there is a star that does not move. Everything else wheels around it all night. That one sits still, like a nail hammered into the sky. Point your ship at it, and you are going north. Its height above the horizon tells you how far north you are. Stand in Norway and it sits high up. Sail south and it sinks. So it is not just a compass, it is a ruler. And that gives you the great Norse sailing trick. It is called latitude sailing and it is beautifully simple. Instead, you do this. First, sail north or south along a coast you know until the sky is the right height. Then you turn, hold that height and run straight west. Hold that same height night after night and you are traveling along one single line across the ocean. Hold the line and it will deliver you. The old sailing directions from Norway to Greenland read almost like a recipe. Keep far enough south of Iceland that you only just catch the birds and the whales from it. Keep far enough north of another set of islands that you see nothing of them at all. Then hold on west and you will make the coast, not superstition. Checkpoints. A whole ocean crossing, written as a list of things you should and should not see. And in the bright summer, when the still star is gone, the sun does the same job. Its height at noon tells you your latitude too. There may have been a real instrument for this. In Greenland, in the ruins of a monastery, someone dug up half a small wooden disc with notches cut around its edge. Some researchers read it as a sun compass. Put a peg in the middle and through the day, the shadow tip traces a curve. Match the curve to the carved line and you know you're heading. It is also broken, one of a kind, and not everybody agrees. Some think it is part of a household item, so hold it lightly, a promising maybe, not a proven fact. And then there is the famous one, the sunstone. The sagas mention a stone that could find the sun on a day too cloudy to see it. For a long time that sounded like pure fairy tale. Then physicists tried it. Take a clear crystal of a kind found all over Iceland, hold it up to the sky and turn it slowly. Light from the sky is polarized in rings around the sun. The crystal splits that light into two images which brighten and dim as you rotate it. Line them up and the crystal points at the sun, even through thick cloud, even after sunset. In experiments at sea, it works. But now be honest about the gap. No such crystal has ever been found on a Norse ship or in a Norse grave. One was found on an English wreck from 1592, 600 years too late. So the sunstone is a hypothesis with a good experiment behind it, and no direct evidence at all. That is exactly how we should say it. And underneath all the clever tricks sits the same craft the Pacific sailors had in a colder version. Birds, If you are lost, release a raven and follow it because it will fly towards land, veins which gather where the feeding is. The particular white glare on the underside of a cloud that means ice below, and the long swell rolling under the hull, which holds its direction even when the wind swings around. Now, what did all this get them? In the 800s, Norway to the islands north of Britain and then on to Iceland, empty land, and they settled it. In the 980s, on from Iceland to Greenland, colder, harder, further, and they settled that too. And then from Greenland, west again, into a fog full of ice to a green coast of North America. At the top of Newfoundland, the ground still shows the outline of 8 turf buildings, Norse buildings. For a long time, we could only say around the year 1000. Now we can do better than that. In the year 993, a burst of particles from the sun hit the Earth's air. Every tree alive that year recorded it as one marked ring. Archaeologists found that ring in wood cut with metal tools at that settlement. Then they counted the rings after it. 28, which means those trees were felled in the year 1021. Not around, not roughly. 1021, Europeans stood in the Americas in that exact year, 471 years before Columbus. And they got there under the worst navigational sky on the planet. One last piece, and it is the smallest and my favorite. The Norse built no observatories, no towers, no sky office, no royal tables. What they built was a calendar you could run from a farmyard. The Icelandic year counted in whole weeks, 52 of them, every month starting on the same weekday. But 52 weeks is 364 days. The real year is a quarter of a day longer, so the seasons slowly slide. And they noticed. Around the year 955, at the yearly open-air assembly, a farmer stood up and proposed a fix. Every few years, add 1 extra week to the summer. That is it. That is the whole reform. A calendar correction, argued out in the open air, by farmers and adopted by a vote. And at home, each farm had its own sky marks, not on paper, on the horizon. From your own front door, you learn where the sun sits over the notch in that ridge, over the crag, over the headland, and that becomes your clock. When the sun stands over that rock, it is time to milk. When it clears that peak, it is midday, here and nowhere else. That is astronomy at the scale of a farmyard. No instruments, no writing, just a doorway, a skyline, and a lifetime of looking. So what did the Norse add to our long story? Not new mathematics, not new records, something more stubborn than that. They are the proof that you can go out into the unknown with a sky that keeps failing you and still find your way if you are willing to use everything. The sun's height, a bird, a swell, a crystal maybe, the color of a cloud over ice. And they did all of it while believing, sincerely, that the whole sky was temporary, that the sun was being hunted, that one day the stars would fall. They sailed out into it anyway. There is something enormous in that. Next time we crossed the ocean, they very nearly crossed for good. The Norse feared that their sky would one day fall in a final battle. Far to the south, in a great city built on an island in a lake, in the middle of Mexico, a people believed the sky had already fallen. 4 times. And that only they, with the right rituals on the right nights, could stop it falling a 5th.